this, is this, oh, this is for you? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out what the packet is.
Janice. Ready to start? Okay, so we're at 7:20.
7:22. Like that? Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We have no guests and no appointments and no public hearing. So we're moving on to old business. The Stibler Space Program, Joint Board Officers, yeah, there's nothing to report. Trustee goal updates, which, those are kind of combined with the June action items.
Yeah.
So with the June action items, we have review and rewrite purpose statements for personnel and building committee.
I have a draft, but Janice and I were,
A draft for,
a draft for the Personnel Committee purpose statement. But Janice and I were thinking that we probably would, we'd give you the draft and then maybe bring it up in August, because that's actually when we had that. So
Okay.
you could just look at it.
Okay, do you want to speak to the building?
Sure. Janet and I met and we went over the building committee. We kind of took the two different descriptions that were out there for the building committee and put them together. And she emailed it to me. It looks great. So I don't know where you want to go from there, if we want to let everybody see it or.
I can send it out, or
Yeah.
you can send, well, you can send it out.
It just clearly
Yeah.
states sort of what our expectations are for the board, and we'd like to, at some point, sit down with Yvette and some of the staff members and just let them know, like, this is what the description is, and this is how we're hoping communication will go, so.
Yep. So, do you want me to send out the draft, or you want to?
Sure.
All right, I'll send out the draft. And then, that's it, because you and I already did the Finance Committee.
Yep.
Karen and I attended the agenda meeting, reviewed the trustee manual, sections 1 and 2 for August. Does anybody have any questions on how we're going to go about doing that?
well, I think the manual was, like I say, was originally designed just to be sort of a handbook for the trustees, so that you could access like the bylaws, the RSAs, the documents pertinent to the Merrimack Library easily and quickly, and keep them in one place, because everybody was having trouble keeping track of everything. And that was just a way to do that. So that's what it was designed for, but if we want to put it on the website, which is perfectly fine, I don't know that it's necessary that all the documents go in there.
Well, some,
So
I'm
that-
sorry,
Go ahead.
some of them might be, I don't know, I'm trying to think of the staff phone tree or something might be,
The what?
if something's confidential that has addresses or something that you don't
Oh, no,
want
no.
to
it
be-
had-
or
Oh, yes,
changing,
you,
you know,
yes, you're
things that,
correct.
I don't know.
I had the contact
Sure.
list in there, so we could, they don't have to go on the website.
Yeah.
Stuff like, that's what I mean, it
Right,
had, to-
right.
if you're gonna put it on the website, what you'd put on there probably be different than
Yeah.
what we'd actually have as our day-to-day manual.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's what, and so the intention was to sort of filter out which is which.
Was it a suggestion that we put it on the website? I thought it was just for our.
That was brought up at the
Use.
retreat.
Oh, okay.
I think it's still just good. We should look at it because there are like some formatting issues, things are repeated, there's typos. We can just like sort of all agree. There's some things, I think everybody contributed their pieces was the message I got, but maybe no one looked at it comprehensively, so.
Yeah, that's true. Well, in terms of formatting and stuff, that's true, they did not.
I guess my comment more is, so are we taking the soft copy that we have, or the hard copy that we have in our books and marking it up and then going to discuss next month? Or,
Are you talking about the purpose statements again?
no, I'm talking about sections
Trustee
1 and
manual.
2. Review the trustee manuals, section 1 and 2 for August.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just wanted us all to be on the same page on what's expected of us come next meeting with sections 1 and 2.
So there was a suggestion at the retreat to try to do it on Google Docs, and I know that I was having trouble accessing it, so I
No,
don't know if we undid that or what happened.
We, at the NHLTA Association meeting this year, Karen and I went to a program that was presented by the attorney from the New Hampshire Municipal Association, and we asked if Google Docs would be okay to use, and he was not in favor of that. He didn't think that was a good idea, so we put that idea aside for now.
So then I guess we would have to just manually
Right.
mark it up.
Or we could all have a copy, like a soft copy,
Mhm.
and I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. So essentially, we're all going to write up, whether it's on a computer version or the hard copy that we have in our books, we're going to write up or change, mark up if we have issues.
Can I make a suggestion? Sometimes when we have group things like this that we have to edit, I've seen that one person we could have somebody with a copy on their computer right here, and people could contribute their suggestions, and as people are making their suggestions, that person could make the changes on the document, and then
During the board meeting?
during
you
the
mean?
board meeting, right? Because it's here, so
Sure.
as you're saying, we don't need line 2, gone. We can
Gone.
3. That way, when we're done, there it is, section 1 and 2 has been taken care of. And I'm happy to do that. So
Okay, then
I will
you
get
need to
section
get-
1 and 2.
Okay.
Do you have that, Yvette, or?
I have it right here.
No,
Well,
but like, actually, do you have the electronic copy, Laura? Of section?
Well, not everything was on my computer, like the bylaws and RSAs were not
Okay.
on my computer, they were
All right,
from
so
another book.
why don't I'll look through 1 and 2. I'll see what I can hunt down from there and put it all into a document, bring my computer that day, and I think we devote 10 minutes, like, to 1 and 2. And then at the end of 10 minutes, we're done with it. So,
And one is just sort of housekeeping, like
Yep.
a sample agenda format, the library holiday schedule.
Yeah,
Two
some of
is
that stuff will
trustee
just be like,
job
can't even
description, you know,
change,
the
like,
check,
yep,
check, check,
so that's
check.
is what it is.
So I think that's probably a quick way to do it, and that way people can just say, oh, I noticed on this line, this needs to be that way. Okay, I'll make the change. And then when we're done, we'll have it,
Okay.
and that'll be it.
And then you now have the committee description for the personnel
Right, we'll
committee,
just
so you
update
can
And you
those
have the,
put that in there.
Yep.
Well, she doesn't have it yet.
Oh,
But I
she
will.
have it.
I'll make it a point to hunt all that down before the next trustee meeting and get a copy so we can edit it that day.
okay. Thank you, Deb.
Sure.
So, because Karen wasn't sure where we were, I copied and pasted the June action items from the minutes to go over. So that's literally what I'm going over, are just the action items from June on my agenda.
So that was action item 1 on our minutes, I believe.
No.
Review.
One is committee purpose statements.
Right,
That was one.
review and rewrite purpose statements.
Yep, which
then
the
2
building committee will send out a draft to everybody.
And then 2 was.
2 trustees should
the
attend.
agenda meeting,
That's
which
already being done.
We did, yep,
And 3, that was review the trustee manual,
Mhm.
okay.
yep.
4 is the
And
COLA
4 is the
staff
COLA,
brief.
which I'm working on.
Okay,
And then 5 is determine if LBOT elections need to be restructured. That's for this month.
So I did a little research, looked at some of the local libraries that we are sort of comparable to see how they have things done. The one thing that struck me is that every single one of them, I looked at Amherst, Milford, Goffstown, and Hooksett, they have a chair and a vice chair, or they have co-chairs. That's the way that theirs works. 3 of the boards have 7 people, 1 has 5. I know this is not exactly what, but as I started to look at it. The Amherst chair, I sent her an email and she got back to me. They sound like they sort of run the same thing when the election happens. They then elect their trustees at the next meeting. It's usually the same people. The vice chair, interestingly, doesn't become the chair. They have a vice chair. You can just be the vice chair for 5 years, and then you can be the chair for 5 years. I'm not sure that that's how the other places do things, but I think if we're going to look at restructuring elections, maybe we should look at, is that a positive direction to be going? Maybe people should just consider, should we have a vice chair and a chair? Should we have co-chairs? Is that a good thing to have? Because it seems like that works for a lot of people, and I can do some more legwork, but for continuity, I think the idea of having a vice chair who then becomes chair is actually a wonderful way to do things. But I don't know. So I don't have any conclusions. I was thinking about what would be, when could elections take place, that there would not be too much of a difficulty with transitions. Treasurer really is the position. That's the one that you're kind of, if you don't have a treasurer in place, so say somebody leaves and then there's not a treasurer coming in, I don't know. I don't necessarily have an answer to it, so.
What was the role of the co-chair?
She said, she actually wrote me a really lovely email that they, let's see. So she had been vice chair for 5 years, and now she's been chair for 5 or 6 years. If the chair's away, they help facilitate the meetings. They also help with the annual review of the director, cover attendance at Board of Selectmen meetings when required, and that sort of thing. Something else that they did that I thought was really interesting was that they actually, she didn't say anything about a retreat, but they have an annual brainstorming session with the staff that helps them get to know the staff and get ideas. Well, we have Yvette to give us a lot of that information, but I just thought that was an interesting way to approach things too. So bottom line, I don't know that there's an answer, but I think that going to visit some of these trustee meetings and getting to see how they do things, it would be really positive. She says that they reorganize every year, that it allows for changes needed and keeps the energy of the board at a healthy level, that they also have people that come in 3-year and 2-year shifts, so that sort of shakes things up.
Oh, wow.
So I just think we could learn a lot from the way that the other people are doing things. So I don't necessarily have an answer for how we should do it, but I think there's a lot of good options out there that might be positive additions to here, so.
Oh, we can definitely investigate that going forward for the next.
Yeah, there's nothing has to change right away, but I think we could probably learn and make the board stronger from doing that, from what we can learn from other trustees and other meetings, so. And I noticed I was reading a lot of their minutes, their hours, meetings were like an hour and a half. So I was like, wait, when did this start? When did this get done? So.
Yeah.
And I wondered about that if it was a larger board, had they broken off into smaller groups, that when they came back to a meeting, they had other stuff already
I don't know.
settled.
Yeah,
Like
I
it
don't
was
know.
a committee just recommending, and then not everyone was having to
Yeah.
read and reread and.
I'd like to go to some of their meetings and just see how things are run at the different boards, so anyways. So I don't have any conclusions, but I've been investigating it, and maybe we can make some plans to go to other meetings and see how other people do things if people are interested.
Okay, thanks. 6 is revised director job description of finance section, which we did. That's completed. 7 was update the explanation of library trust funds, which is done. Discuss and vote on the trustee budget for 2000, or the 1920 year and the 2021. Actually, no, that's not the right dates.
That's not the right dates?
Mm-mm. It's discuss the 1819 and then vote for 1920.
I was pretty impressed that we were ahead of ourselves.
I'm like, that
I was
is-
like, wait a second. How do we get
We're
there?
good, but we're not that good.
Short-lived glory.
Exactly. Actually, we'll be discussing that tonight. Money left after fiscal year and expenditures will go to programs, which is for 9. And then 10 is already done, or that we're discussing that tonight, which is the director and the treasurer will meet to discuss a plan to compensate an acting director. Or no, it's the acting director writer.
Can you jump back to 7 for a second?
Sure.
7 was something about
These were the trust funds that I did At the retreat,
the descriptions?
yes.
Okay, so that's done.
that's
Even
done.
though it said September.
Yes.
Okay,
Well,
that was,
the
all right.
original.
Yeah, I was sort of trying to get my ducks in a row. I'm like, I think
I
we
have-
did it, so I'll cross it off, but it's
I
just.
have it.
Okay.
It'll get crossed off now,
Um,
and I will,
Well, you should leave September and say, hey,
Ooh,
we're right on
ahead.
top of things here.
Yeah, and the 18, 19, 19, 20 will get,
Correct.
corrected when I do the final copy.
Okay. Okay, new business. Policies, acting director? Mm-hmm.
What did you say?
It's, policies, the acting director rider policy.
Oh, yes.
So Janet and I met and came up with this policy. That's really all it is. And then I wrote it up and she saw it, the clean draft, I guess, and here it is. This is it.
Yeah.
I thought this was nicely done. I do have one question, though. Under extenuating circumstances, the sentence says, "In the event that staff serving as the acting director's absence for a length of time," do you need to put in a particular length of time?
I don't know that you can, because I think when you write a policy, you want it to have some some wiggle room.
Okay.
I think, this was just based off of a lot of questions that Janet was coming up with. What about this? What about this? What about this? And we talked about a lot of
Yeah.
those what ifs that you just don't know what the what if's going to be. And so we tried to maybe, I think, make it clear that if, I'm on vacation, let's say I'm on vacation, the director's away and someone's been appointed to cover certain duties and something happens to that person, then what happens? And it's like, well, you guys are gonna have to make a decision because now maybe I'm not reachable or something, but then it's, how long of a time is that person gonna be away? It's probably not gonna be a vacation, it would be an emergency, that would really be the only thing. And boy, you never know how long that's going to be. So I think it's kind of a case-by-case basis, but at least we know what direction should we kind of go in. Try and cover all the bases, because you can always have a fallback of, we need a more permanent temporary director, and then you revert back to a different job description. That was the main thing that we were concerned about, is at what point does the director's job description come into place? And that's when, I'm gone, I've won the lottery and I've quit, and now you're doing a big search for 3 months, and, I don't think we thought that the acting director should do that, because that's
Right.
more of a short term, we were talking
Yeah,
about
we did,
short term.
short term, yeah.
Excuse me.
So, I don't know if you can what do you guys want to do? You want to put a time?
No, I was just
I mean-
asking if it was, I agree with you that it needs to have flexibility to use
Okay,
it, yeah.
yeah, it's really just to signal an intent, I think.
Right.
Okay.
Was there a reason you decided to do $1,000 after taxes? So you're just going to figure in what the taxes they would pay on that and put that in their pay?
I looked at what the school does in
Uh-huh.
terms of extra, like when they do extra duty and
Mhm.
how they do that. From that, I just chose 1,000 essentially. But my husband, when he gets a bonus, if they give him $200, it's $200 that he gets to take home.
So will our payroll be able to do that, to add the taxes
Mhm.
in? So, okay.
So that's all. So,
Okay.
We had talked about that amount before.
Yeah, the 1,000, I was just surprised by the after taxes. That's just
well,
the question.
yeah. Well, I thought it was worth
Which
it.
is fine. I just was like, oh, okay, that's different. So,
That's all.
I had two questions. One of my questions was the third bullet. In the event that the library director position is vacant, the trustees may appoint an interim director. Isn't that what we wouldn't do it that way anyways?
I'm sorry, finish your sentence before I start shaking my head, no.
So, the library director position is vacant for whatever reason, and we need an interim director. wouldn't we do that anyways? Why would we document that here?
Just, again, these are the just in case, what if
Okay.
scenarios. Because, you know, when the previous director announced her retirement, she announced it several months ahead. And then I'm sure the trustee board updated the job description, and you post it for a really long time, and then you do your first interview process is longer than even a department head, you know, so meanwhile, the director is probably given maybe 2 months of, you know, here's my notice.
Right.
And then what if the director needs to start their new position somewhere while you're still in a job search? You don't want to have, you have to have the library still needs to run.
Right.
We still need to approve payroll, and someone needs to attend your meetings on behalf of the library. So, you know, I think at that point, if you're looking at a long-term situation where you don't have the staff anymore, and no one's just kind of covering a short vacation or an illness or something, then it's, you know, because some searches, gosh, they take 6 months or really long time. You just don't know what your candidates are going to be,
Right.
your candidate pool. So I think that's when it's, we want to make sure the library is still operating. And so you have an interim. I mean, Deb, I don't know if your experience in libraries is different, or?
Well, I just saw that as that, one, the acting director can't assume they'll become the interim director.
how I
And
exactly what I was gonna
also
say.
that this protects the acting director, that we're not just going to put them in a position where we're going to
Right.
pay you $1,000, keep doing what you're doing. So I
Yeah.
think that is just sort of to clarify the difference between what an acting director would do and then what we would do if we needed to do a job search. That the acting director and interim director are two different things.
I understood that.
Okay. I think it's,
Yeah,
again, this is like a what if.
it's like a moot point, though, you know,
Well,
like, because
it's-
there could be other extenuating circumstances. I was just trying to wrap my brain around, wait a second. This aside, we could have no library director for whatever reason.
could, yeah.
And we would have to have some sort of interim director. I hear what you're
Absolutely.
saying, you don't want the acting person to think, oh my God, I have to step into that place and you're not gonna compensate me for it.
Right.
Well, I think like, I'm trying
Or
to
not
think of.
assume that that's what's gonna
No,
happen.
I mean, there could be situations you see, I see this a lot on the nays list. You know, someone is on maternity leave at a library somewhere, and they want to hire someone to cover that work. But when that person comes back from maternity, they're gonna have that job, so it's a temporary position. I think that's what this is. It's really just protecting yourself so that everything keeps moving,
Okay,
you know?
thanks.
I mean, well, one day we'll try it out. You know what I mean? You know?
Let me rephrase. I thought it would be there for a very good reason, and I just needed to hear what it was, because I couldn't put those things together, so thank you.
Okay.
I don't know, I think that was my only, I said I had, oh, my other question is this like a legal document, or does this go into the file of the person who's gonna be the acting director? Or it's just so we have it, it's just documentation for us, it's not something the person has to sign, it's not something the person has to
Well, what do you want to
agree
do?
to, I don't,
What are you asking?
like, this
know,
is
that's a
not
good question.
considered sort of like, quote-unquote, an employment contract or a contract to do this particular position. Did we need it to be looked at by the town? I don't know.
It's not a contracted position, I do not believe.
Well, none of them are.
Yeah.
I mean,
Or-
mine is the closest, but
Or if you say to the person, you know, Ms. Smith, we would like you to be the acting director, here's the description of that, whatever it is.
Essentially, do you want like essentially at the bottom of this, lines where like the director and the new acting director would sign and date? Is that
can
what?
can I just make a suggestion that, because we have someone in this position already, if we could maybe pause this conversation and hold it to the non-public? Because then we can, I think, discuss it in much more depth.
Sure.
Okay,
Yeah, that works.
okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, that's our only policy. So we're going to move on to the operating budget. We have the general ledger and the manifest.
Okay, so I sent you June. you had any questions for, I mean, now we're in a new fiscal year, so.
I didn't have any questions.
Everything got encumbered. I mean, that's really the main thing is, and we had that conversation over several weeks, so
Yeah,
this is just,
I didn't have any questions.
okay. What about invoices? This is your usual.
Nope, that's actually where I was looking. Nope. I didn't.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
I combined the two.
Still grabbing paper.
I just continue to love how this is formatted, makes it so easy to see.
What is it?
Which one
We're
are we on?
looking at general.
The recap
Manifest
of
and
invoice?
the
Oh,
general
I
ledger.
skipped ahead, sorry.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm looking at the
And
recap
this-
of
they were
invoice.
Yes,
kinda
those are the
looking at together.
manifests.
I'm so organized, I can't find anything, because
Because you have everything.
I have everything, but we're also doing it in different order, and I still haven't gotten used to that.
Oh,
Just because
The new-
I'm
yep.
used to doing it a certain way, now I'm doing it a different way, which is fun, but.
so questions on the ledger? Questions on the manifest? Okay. Moving on, year-end expenditures?
Everything got encumbered.
Done.
This is- I mean, yeah, everything got encumbered, and as soon as we hit July, things are purchased and, I mean, we're just in the process. So
Great.
we're fine.
This says fiscal year 2021 budget draft?
Isn't that what we,
Which,
maybe that was a reminder. I don't know.
I think it was just more like, it was a conversation we were talking about that we should start thinking about
We were
early.
talking, yeah, we were talking about it. Let me see what I wrote here.
Yeah, I didn't remember either.
I didn't write a note on why, it was just 2021 budget draft. Maybe it was kind of planning,
Yeah, I think it was just so we could
the
start
fall.
looking at it earlier than the November timeframe.
yeah,
I remember that discussion.
yeah, so maybe I'll just, what I remember during our agenda meeting, this came up. One of the things that we talked about was, right now, all the staff are evaluated on their anniversary date,
That's right.
right? So my anniversary is at the end of September, so, well, I'm not evaluated at the end of September anymore. But my point is that all the other staff, their anniversary date is when they get evaluated, or as close to it as possible. Which we hire people throughout the year, you know that. So what we were kicking around, and I'm not sure why this came about, it might have been because of the budget,
Right,
right?
because of the raises
Because of the
and COLA stuff.
COLA and the wage chart.
Yeah,
You know, what would happen if we moved the evaluations and kind of followed what the town does and do the evaluations for everybody between May and June, and just had 2 months to evaluate everybody?
is that feasible?
Of course, it's feasible, sure, if we agree. The point is, here's the point, because then you guys would have some kind of information that could go towards input in the budget for the following year, or something at the end of the year with the year-end expenditures, if you wanted to include raises or COLA or something, and we could actually start to implement that, the wage chart,
study.
which is the minimum, mid, and the
right.
and the max for each position. And right now, they're so scattered throughout the year, someone may not have had their, it's so scattered, it just seems a little bit unfair. But, I think if we have May and June, the town has all of their evaluations done in one block of time, and that's all the departments. And it's just so that this information can get to Sharon and personnel, and they're also discussing union contracts, so it seemed a little more organized and streamlined to me.
So with the new wage chart, staff do not get a raise on their anniversary.
That has not been budgeted, we've not planned for that.
Why?
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's-
Because my concern to moving to a May to June would be that there'd be people who would have gotten evaluated earlier in the year and they'd be missing out on a raise, but that's not in place right now, so that wouldn't
Nothing
be a
is in
concern.
place.
Okay.
Nothing's in place. Right now, you know, I think sometimes the board has decided on different kinds of increases, because I know we've signed pay ARs, but it's been like, you have to plan for it in October, November, put it in. I think we had this whole change of health insurance a couple years ago, and the town did also, and we're separated from their health insurance. So I know the town was kind of keeping track of increases for the non-union staff that would kind of stay in step with the union staff, but we didn't hear about it. And then it was a very much kind of after the fact of, oh, well, are the trustees gonna, after you've pretty much finalized your budget, are you gonna add in? You know, I mean, you guys,
Right.
you remember some of these conversations, so very complicated on that end. I think one of the things that we were brainstorming was how to be ahead of the game, be a little more organized and proactive about what.
Yeah.
I mean, we made this chart,
Exactly.
spent money on
Exactly.
research for the
Exactly.
chart.
So let's implement it, as
It's
well
just
as
there.
the way things are set up.
Mm.
If there's some exceptional, stellar employee, we can't do anything for that employee, even if their evaluation is done before the budget, I mean, as it's set up right now, so,
Well, we have the incentive line.
Right, the
but
incentive,
That's all
but-
you have.
right. So if the evaluations were done, which, as it stands right now, other than time for staff to get it done in a period of time, it doesn't affect anything that's going on, and yet would help us
Mhm.
going forward. So I think we should look into that.
But let me ask your general leaning, because I can bring this, I mean, I don't usually put my foot down, I'm not that kind of person, but I can put my foot down. Or I think it's a great idea personally. What's the direction of the board? Because I can go to the next department head meeting that we have in August. It's the first week of August. I'll meet with them. There's some element of, because I say so, you know, and not, well, I don't have time to do it. Well, I sit on every single evaluation, so that's 24 evaluations that I sit in on. So if I have time to do it, everyone has time to do it. And you just make it a priority, and they're maybe an hour, maybe 30 minutes, but then you have the information that you need.
So you were saying May, June, but are you saying now that they should do the evaluations coming up so that we would have that information for the next budget cycle, or?
Well, but we haven't changed anything yet. So right now,
Right.
everyone is just
Right.
being tracked on their anniversary date,
But you have, when do we need to work on the budget for next year?
October.
October,
So-
November timeframe.
So would it make sense to have the evaluations done now so that we have that information for the October timeframe?
Possibly August, September, but it's summer reading, so.
So that probably won't, okay,
And honestly, for this year, I don't think it will matter.
okay.
Oh, well, why not?
Because we'll be going through all the current people, where they are, how they match up with our scale.
Okay.
So I think come this, like, where are we? We're in 1920. Come our 2021 budget, we will realign people.
Okay.
I foresee realigning people, let's say,
Okay.
I'm speaking for me, towards the wage study that we did, and we did it for that reason. And then going forward for 21, 22, if you did have your evaluations done, I'll throw out your dates, your May, June, we can definitely use that towards, and then going forward, all successive years after. So people will get realigned, and then going forward, we'll just see where everything, like, whether it's incentive, whether it's COLA, whatever it is.
So we'll use the scale, and we will be able to budget
Yeah.
using the scale.
Yep.
And that would be terrific for everybody.
Sure.
So your intention is then to have everybody on the scale, aligned on the scale for the next budget cycle?
Yes.
Okay, regardless of the evaluation?
Correct.
Okay.
Because they don't even get, I mean, in some years, there's no COLA, there's
Yes, no,
nothing.
no,
Right.
It's just flat.
Yes.
So,
Mhm.
Well, because to use me as an example, I'll be the guinea pig. September, I will be here at the library for 10 years, because I was hired in 2009, and that's still my anniversary date. And as a director, it was also a September start. So we have to at some point, we have to look at my work. I'll have been the director for, I think, 7 years, and then I'm going to get to 10. I mean, who knows? God, who knows what's going to happen if I get to 10. That was your mid.
right.
And we have other employees who've been in their position certainly longer than I've been in this one,
Mhm.
and we haven't looked at it.
Right.
And that's a concern. So how can we start to
To move.
move to this?
Yeah.
And what are the things that need to happen so that you can have the information you need? I think evaluations, that would certainly be a great part of it.
Mhm.
I think you're probably, realistically, you're always going to have someone who, doesn't hit that nice little window.
Mhm.
And we just do the best we can. But at least we're moving to a goal
Yep.
that has to do with
Exactly.
recognition that we haven't been able to catch. We just always seem to be after it,
Yeah.
and certainly all the time I've been the director, all the previous boards, they've wanted to be able to recognize the staff, but it's always this after the fact thing. So,
So what's the next step that we need to take to just have people aligned so that we at least know going forward?
This is actually the number 4 on June's action items. It's the review the COLA raises for staff. It's actually me looking at where everybody is
Okay.
with this pay scale, bringing it,
And-
working it.
and I think you've been already talking with Joanne.
Yep, I already have all the information I need. It's
Yeah.
now just racking and
Great.
stacking and doing some spreadsheets.
I'm
So,
wondering if it's more feasible to do the evaluations over a 3-month period, only because with 24,
Mhm.
that's like one every other day
Is it? Okay.
for 2
So-
months, so that's that's a lot.
April? Is that April, May,
April,
June?
May. Oh, yeah, I'm just wondering, it's really up to you. I mean, it doesn't,
We were
'cause
this is
you're
stuff
the
we kick
staff
around.
that it impacts,
No,
not us.
sure. I will make a note.
and you know what?
can-
Look at how, I know you guys start like summer reading, thinking of it like in January. But if you had slow months, whatever those are, slower months, I don't know. You understand.
It's a library
understand
of
what you're saying.
living beings.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, maybe there's just sleepier months.
Okay, that's a good, I can bring that question to the department heads. Maybe the question or the information I need from you is, I'm trying to not lose my train of thought. How recent, does it really make a difference, 6 months, 3 months, 2 months, for information that's valuable to you? If it's January, February, March versus April, May, June,
I don't think
for a budget discussion that's gonna be towards the end of the summer, early fall,
I don't think it's much difference.
doesn't?
I guess I would personally want the April, May, June, but I think I would want, personally, would want the April, May, June, because then it would be about a 6-month period.
Yeah,
June,
so it just falls
July, August,
nicely. It's the
September.
end of the fiscal year. Get it done. It just falls
Yeah.
right in there before the summer. I think April, May, June, I would agree.
You
Just
think so?
do it. Yes,
Yeah.
I do. And I think people, it's, one of those things, however much time you have is how much time it takes you to get it done. So I'm sure people can do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Seems feasible.
Okay, I will talk to them about it in August and bring back info.
Okay.
Thank you.
Director's report.
Okay.
Back to you.
so- Back to me. Sorry.
And back to event.
That's right. How's the weather today?
Reporter on, our reporter at large.
Okay, so you see we have a couple of gifts, a couple of donations for you to vote to accept. We received a $243 donation of worth of Altitude Trampoline Park 30-minute jump passes from Perry Radford of Edward Jones Investments. to be used as prizes for the Youth Services Summer Reading Program. I know Perry through the Chamber of Commerce. He came up to me or emailed me or reached out, or if it was in person, I don't remember, and said, my kids, we don't live in Merrimack, but my work is in Merrimack. In my town, my kids love the library, really benefit from summer reading. I want to give back. How can I help you? I have this much money to spend. So basically, he was really aiming for $250. I talked with Kathy in Youth Services to figure out, he wanted to have kids who were really power readers and who were doing a lot of reading.
That's cool.
And so she said, well, that's 30 hours. And so he said, great, how many readers do you get usually for that? And he goes, I get this many people. So it's this much money worth. And I went to Altitude and they said, great. And I bought them and they give us the money. And so it's kind of a wash in terms of, you'll see the deposit and
That's fine. Yeah.
and the payout and stuff. So that was really a nice,
Great.
really nice donation
Yeah, thank you.
for our super readers. Would you like to vote to accept that?
I make a motion, we vote to accept the gift from Perry Radford of passes to the Altitude Trampoline Park.
Second?
All those in favor? Motion passes.
Thank you. We also received, again, this is someone I know through my work on the chamber. Beth Cavino also approached me at an event and said, hey, I'd like to donate 4 3-month family membership passes to the Merrimack YMCA. She's the Director of Community Relations at the Y, and said we could really use them across the adult, the teen, and the youth programs because they were family passes. And so I believe Youth Services has 2 and Adult has 2.
It's an incredibly generous
I was
donation.
gonna say
It's
that-
wonderful, yeah.
It is, that's
Yes,
great.
It's great.
I move that we accept the 4 3-month family memberships to the Merrimack Y from Beth Cavino.
Second?
Who seconded?
All those in favor?
I have one more that was submitted to me after I had already mailed this out. From Brendan in Adult Services, the library received a donation of a document viewer, a device that allows users to zoom in and out while viewing printed documents such as newspapers or books. The donation will remain in the library to help patrons view materials in a way more comfortable for their eyes, whether they have normal or troubled vision. The individual who donated the item is Mary Normandin, and she's a Merrimack resident. And if you come into the library, Brendan has found a really good spot it's quite a large machine. It's in the Carrolls on the Adult Services floor.
Nice.
Yeah, I investigated it. I just was curious because I didn't even realize it was there.
It's-
And then
well,
I
it's
saw
new.
the- Yeah, but I
Yeah.
saw the sign. It had been there for several weeks, and I'm in the library pretty frequently, so I went over and it's pretty intuitive. I mean, everybody at the reference desk is happy to show you, but it's really neat. If something is small print and you want to read it, it really works very well, and it's very easy to use, so
Nice.
I thought it was neat.
Anyone like to make a motion? I'll make a motion to accept the document viewer from
Mary Normandin?
Mary
Mary
Normandin.
Normandin. Thank
Mhm.
you.
I'll second it.
All those in favor? 500.
Okay, thank you. So the personnel, I have a couple of PARs for the chair to sign. So right now, we have offered Dan Joseph the 20-hour-a-week part-time circulation aide position. And this is pending a clean background check coming back. We've also offered Chris Puzzo a 17-hour-a-week part-time circulation aide position, also again, pending a clean background check coming back. I think he's still working out his schedule with Jen. And then we've offered Casey Bernard the full-time library assistant position. And actually, I did hear from her, she did confirm that she would like to accept. So also, again, these are all pending, a good background check coming back.
Nice.
Would you like to vote to accept these three? And I have Daniel's and Casey's to sign,
Okay,
but not,
not Chris's.
they didn't leave me Chris's, no.
Move we accept the hiring of Dan Joseph for 20 hours a week, Chris Puzo for 17 hours a week as part-time circulation aides, and Casey Bernard as a full-time library assistant.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Awesome, thank you. So building and maintenance, any questions on this?
Wait,
That's part of my,
there's the grants?
no.
No,
No grants.
oh, MA.
I mean, usually during the summer, if we receive donations like this, the YMCA passes and the Altitude Trampoline Park passes, you'll get it as we get them. But then at the end of the summer, I always ask the staff, just give me a big list of everything, just in case we missed anything. And I think they'll probably have to include the New Hampshire Humanities Council grants, because I know we've received some of them, and I just need to get the information from Brendan. So I don't have any grants at this point, but I hopefully will at the end of the summer. So that's why I'm jumping to building maintenance.
Oh, actually, I did have a question about building maintenance. The bathroom.
Yep.
Would you please bring everybody up to date on what happened with the bathroom?
While I was away, I saw on Facebook. We closed
You're not
early
supposed
last
to be looking at Facebook during your vacation.
You know what? If I get bars up in Maine,
Okay.
it's
You're like,
like,
"Woohoo!"
ooh. I
Okay.
guess that's happening. Now I don't have bars anymore. It's very sporadic up there. I saw the same email that I think you saw,
Okay.
which there were issues, and it was a heavy rainstorm, and the water was coming up through the drains in the floor. This was the same thing that happened, like, I think the previous week,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I
where
feel like I've
where I was
read
emailing you
this
saying,
somewhere.
gosh, I don't know if we can open
Yes.
past 4:30.
Right.
So, as far as I know, I didn't talk to either Jen or Joanne today, as I just really came in at 6, for Cupcake Wars, and here I am. So I've only seen the emails that you've seen.
Okay.
But library's open, bathroom's working, I'll touch base with them, I'll see them tomorrow.
Okay. I did touch base with Jen.
Okay.
The day after, and it was one of those, like, I came in and it was open, so I figured everything worked out. But I did talk to Jen, and she had arrived early, and Jared had been there early, and they met the Granite State Plumbing, I'm pretty sure that was right. And they got it fixed out, and then they helped in terms of conversations about what Jared or staff can do to rectify the situation so it doesn't happen again. Jen is like, I want to see what's in there. And she's like, and I thought, no, because apparently something is clogging it. And she's like, I want to see it. So.
Well, the week before, when I was still here, we had that same, what is going on here? And we had a plumber come over and take one of the ladies' toilets
Excuse me.
off
Oh,
the
wow.
floor, off the seal, look in, and clear it so that it was functioning again, we could stay open. But also was suggesting we do a sewer flush out to the street.
Yep.
And these are town pipes. So I was like, let's hold on that. Let me find out some information. And I contacted Kyle and said, is this something, I'm not comfortable with this because, our pipes are our pipes in the building, but once you start to get out to the street, that's really your expertise. And so Kyle and I were emailing back and forth, and then he had someone for the sewer to come in and they started, because I was almost, it was getting to the end of the week and I was gonna be gone. We were looping in Joanne so that they started to take over that conversation of really something more like a flush that goes out to the street and really is starting to interact with stuff that Kyle already knows about. So I'm not sure what happened earlier or last week with the toilet, because that had been resolved the first time, and then they were talking about setting up an appointment to have a town sewer person come in and do the rest of it. Regularly, we have to have a company come in and just clear the drains, of tree roots. But, the plumbing company that I had spoken to before I left was quoting me something quite expensive to, do a hydro wash, and it's like, okay, but our pipe, these are old pipes. So, I think I'm more comfortable having the town who can do the same thing, come take care of that, and then they're just still in the loop, and then can identify what's going on in the pipe. So I don't have an update on that piece of it. I'll be in tomorrow, tomorrow night, so I'll find out more.
I just wanted to get the company right, that it's the Granite State Sewer Cleaning, who apparently this is the company that the town recommended, so
Okay. Good.
I just wanted to get it right. And they had come in, so.
Okay.
I had a question about, if I don't sneeze again. Where'd it go? The AC unit. I'm sorry, not that. Waiting for a decision on stairwell changes for repainting the north door. You're talking about the outside stairs, the granite stairs on that?
Where are you?
On the building list under
Yeah.
716.
Yep.
It
Yep.
says repaint north door, and that's on hold, waiting for decision on the stairwell changes. I assume that's the outdoor granite stairs you're talking about?
No, the north door is by the parking lot, where the book
Oh.
sale stuff comes in, that's the north door.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So what kind of stairwell changes are you referring, what kind of
know.
stairwell changes do you mean?
I don't know.
Oh, it says waiting for decision on stairwell changes.
Yep, nope.
Oh,
She-
okay.
I did not see them today, so I'm writing down questions so I can bring back questions.
Okay.
It looks like Jared has been his faithful, useful self, even including computer issues. We are
he's
lucky to have him.
He knows many, many
He
things.
does. He has many, many skills. We are grateful for that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and he's got those flowers going, he's keeping the landscaping just so beautifully. It looks better than I think I've ever
Yeah.
seen it.
Yeah.
So it's nice, I like that sign very much, thanking the Merrimack Garden Club
Yes.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Jared too.
Okay.
Anything else that I can try to not answer very accurately? I'm sorry.
Administration. Does anybody have any other questions for the director's report? Anybody want to highlight anything? Yvette, do you want to highlight anything?
It's just really nice to have a full staff. I'm just going to say that. That's really, the interview process is very long. And it's just really nice. We have some excellent people we just made offers to. Really hope they work out well.
Excellent.
Yep, and you'll recognize them because you won't recognize them.
Exactly.
Well, probably in the fall, we'll plan some kind of full staff meeting and then,
Yes.
or, we'll figure something out.
I met Dan.
Oh, you did?
Yep, I met Dan.
He's a local teacher.
Oh, I didn't know
What?
that.
Dan Joseph is a Thornton's Ferry teacher
Hmm.
and also was a student.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
It's really neat that we have, you know, kind of local people who've grown up in town or grown up in the library are now, you know, coming and wanting to give back and participate, and they just love the library and still love the library and have wonderful memories, and it's really, it's nice to hear. I mean, you know, it's great. It's nice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
We all set with the director's report?
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, the treasurer's report. Any questions? We can move on. All right, I'm going to start with the balance sheet.
Which one?
um, June balance sheet. It's the,
You talking about the combined or?
Nope.
No.
no,
You're talking about which one? Oh, here it is.
it shows like all the fines and special and all the savings
Okay.
accounts.
Yeah, here it is.
No, I'm going back to the director's
Okay.
report for a second. I'm
No
sorry.
problem.
I think I know what the stairwell changes are because, and I'm sorry for, when we were, Paul McCallie was at the library with one of the engineers from Turnstone, and this was several months ago, looking at the windows. But because the water has run down into the back, into the north door underneath, and down the stairs into the clump room, in the flood, I think, not last year, but 2 years ago. That was one of the questions where it was, we walked around the corner, it was, is there anything we can do about this? There were way too many things being kicked around, but that was part of the window project and filling that gully. And, you know, one of the things Paul was saying is, maybe we build like a doghouse that's, you know, and then there's a little extra. Maybe we put a thing. Can we put a berm? No, we can't. Can we build this up? No, we can't. You know, so there was a lot of, what's the transition that's allowed, but from the building to the stepping outside, because it's an emergency exit and you can't have any complications
Right.
to the exit, but you still have the water coming in. And I don't know if that's, can you paint the door? Sure. You know, so I'm not sure. That was the last conversation I know about the north door and changes in the stairwell, because that's the stairwell. So, I don't know. But I'm still writing it as a question, and I will still go find out.
There we go.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, we on to the balance sheet?
This,
Alright.
this one, right?
That one, yes. And you have everything circled.
Well, it's still a skill in process.
Okay,
I test myself every time.
okay. So with fines, the beginning balance for June was $12,593.79. The ending balance as of June 30th was $13,058.10. And then for special, as of June 1st, our beginning balance was $11,279.51. And we ended with $11,687.24. So that's June. What I gave you guys today, actually, well, I sent it out, and so you could see it all on, that Joanne was so nice that she printed these for me. The profit and loss by month, so you could see it in a year entirety.
Yes, because I have it 50/50.
But so when you're up at 4 o'clock in the morning and need to go back to bed, you can review it. I just think it's nice to see how it falls per month. Okay, so where are we? We don't-
I think this is just my still, I need to ask this question again.
Sure.
All right, I'm looking at the page that says fines, profit, and loss by month.
Okay.
And so then it says fines, income sources.
Yep.
And the name of this account is the fines account. This
Yep.
is different from fines collected for.
Correct.
Okay.
You are correct.
I know I'm being very, very silly, but I wanted to
Nope.
make sure that I understood that.
Okay. No, you're right.
All right, good. Then I'm good.
Yeah. It's because of, it's how the RSA is written.
Oh, it just, I looked at it and went, okay, yep, that's what she said before. She said before that that is really the name of the, and don't confuse that with.
Yeah.
So, anyways, thank you. It's like, we have this much money in fines? People are leaving that many books behind.
Yes. And like, so if you actually followed fines themselves out to the total, yeah, it's 11,273. That's actually down from past years. It's, so in actuality, people are doing better at returning their, or they take advantage of the fines amnesty month.
Well, and I know for me, like, I get more things on my Kindle now, and that just kind of goes away. So I don't pay a fine
Oh,
on that.
exactly.
So that changes too, if you start to even
Right.
just get a few
It's
books, if
true.
everybody does that across the board.
You're
so.
right.
I was interested that in the specials account that we still get non-resident. People buy non-resident cards. I was just surprised by that. I didn't think with all of the cooperative borrowing that's going on, that people would still do that, so,
Well, it could be Nashua
yeah.
or Londonderry that are
Yep.
not part of the consortium, which you know that.
Yeah, I know, I just was surprised to see it. I was like, oh, non-resident cards.
I'll point this out a little later, but I'm going to say it now. May and June were the first 2 months for passports, and we got $1,400.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So,
It has the potential really to bring in a lot of
Yeah.
money.
so,
And I think-
Okay, but that's not why we do it.
Correct.
um,
I was going
but there
to
was nothing for
say-
June. Just
I was
so
going
throwing
to
that
say
out.
that having it at the library and
Or
it's
nothing
so
for-
readily available,
Oh, yeah.
that's
That's what,
really the service point for.
that's what I am hearing from people,
Yeah.
that it's very convenient, especially if we're doing a passport for children. Their children are with them. And, you know, it's hard for kids to sit still and wait. It doesn't take that long to process the passport, but they're still waiting,
Right.
you know, and it's
They
pleasant.
could read a book while they're waiting.
They can read a book, they can play with a puzzle, they can color. Yeah, I mean, I had
It's just so
a family
great.
come in and I was doing a passport for the mom and for the youngest child. And they were already in the children's room, so I just went down there. Because I knew I knew when my appointment was, and it was just like, okay, they're probably downstairs, because I knew it was a kid. And they just played.
That's nice.
Great.
So, okay. I am moving on to the budgets, 'cause that's more of a lengthy discussion. I'm looking at 1819, the one we just finished. That's the one that has, looks like that. These are done. That's done.
Was this something you put in an email?
I did.
Okay. I'm sure I didn't print it out. I'm sure I
Okay.
saw it, but I'm sure I didn't print it out.
Okay. This one, so with 1819, I just need to find it. Draft proposal, I don't want my draft proposal.
And you did comments as
Yeah, exactly, that's what I was looking for, actually. There it is.
I actually found something.
So I have my 1819 comments.
Mhm.
I'll run through it. The numbers for this 1819 are actuals. They go through the whole year. Again, fines and special are unanticipated. This was the first year we did a budget, so I didn't do any of the, no income was taken into account. It was just about setting up expenses. My observations for this are that, in general, fines have decreased over the last 5 years. This is the first full year of owning the copier, not leasing them. First year, you guys wouldn't know this, but this is actually the first year that e-commerce actually exceeded its operating costs. Bless you. With expenses, it looks like with materials under fines, we spent close to $3,000 more than what we hadn't budgeted, but there were 2 items that we voted on. We voted to do the 1900, bless you again. The 1900 for Hoopla, and there's a database in there that we had voted on to also pay for. So that actually is a $3,000 budget that we added, so in reality, we did pretty good on that one. And then the other one I wanted to comment on, was just the museums, that as it stands right now, there were 2 payments to one museum that went into this fiscal year. So it's an additional $250, so the over budget is only over by $260, so. That's for fines.
So your estimates were pretty good, except that you really should leave a little more of a cushion because you don't know what's going to come up.
Right. So, or it's very similar, and we just know that there will be times that we are gonna vote and it will increase it. So, so then with special, the book sale income is going away. General donations, again, have also decreased over the last 5 years. The DCU money is restricted money because it's towards programs that make a difference. And then I highlight that there's about $3,000 of DCU money from fiscal year 18-19 that has not been paid, has not been used for something. So it's, in a sense, it's obligated for programs that make a difference. The Friends money, I'm going to use the term as money in, money out. They typically, the library will ask Friends to pay for something. The Friends will say, okay, it's whether they give money right away or they just take a receipt and then pay it. In terms of budgeting, it's money in, money out. There's no excess, except for what currently they have agreed to pay an additional $300 per quarter to the library as a donation to be spent anywhere. And then as it stands with fiscal year 18-19, $7,600 and change of Friends money was restricted. Grants increased over this year significantly.
What increased?
Grants. We had over $600 in grants, so great, fabulous, wonderful. Thank your staff. In the past, it's like 400 or less. Passports are a new income. We've taken in $1,400. Fabulous. And then again, just as FYI, $8,500 of the trustees of the trust fund money is used towards books. Again, actually this number isn't quite right. There's actually $225 that remains of trustees of the trust fund money. Special expenses, again, I just want you to notice materials. Materials can typically come out of fines, because that's one of those things out of fines that we can actually pay for. This materials, the close to $4,000 that came out of materials, most of it was from trustees of the trust fund. There's a little bit from DCU and a little bit from Friends of the Library. But essentially, if it's coming out of special, it's because it has to, like it's a restricted pot of money. The $70 for miscellaneous was from funeral flowers. All of the payments from Friends is restricted money. The Friends bought supplies or gave money towards supplies. The book sale expenses, Friends expenses are all reimbursable now. So again, money in, money out. The equipment, large purchase was the book drop from the Friends, from the turkey shoot. The finance charges have decreased throughout the year, none in the last 3 months. Passport expenses were mostly startup and now are just reoccurring postage charges. And as you can see at the end, in general, we overspent special. So that is, those are the highlights of 1819. Comments, questions, thoughts?
Very thorough.
Thank you.
And actually, for doing it for the first time, going back the 5 years previous so that you could have something to determine a good estimate seems to have pretty well worked. It was unanticipated things that
Sure.
really made us go over. Otherwise, it seems like it was pretty good.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, we have the DCU money and we still have money from them that needs to be used for programs.
Right.
So then will we actually be even more over budget once
Well,
that's spent, or was that taken into
That's taken into
consideration?
account. So
Okay.
down at the bottom, under total staff, I have the obligated money fiscal year 1819, which it is in QuickBooks. It's been obligated.
So
That
once
is-
that's taken in, then we are at negative 1,767. Okay,
Correct.
thank you.
Yep.
So the DCU money, that's Chris Bahalian money, and that's combined with the turkey shoot money, because he's expensive,
Yeah, I bet.
so.
So yeah.
So that's already, you already know what we're spending that on.
Yeah, I've known.
But do you know when that's gonna be, or is that date not?
We're negotiating, it's gonna be September,
Okay,
probably in the middle of a week in September. Not conflicting with anything.
and with
not
plenty of time to
conflicting.
publicize it also.
We'll be all right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, he's,
Okay. All right, I gotta make sure I'm saying everything I want to say. Okay. So are we good with fiscal year 1819?
mhm.
Okay. Now 1920.
So Janet, you have that on your computer,
Yes.
these papers that everyone else has.
Yes.
And you sent them in an email, right? I feel like I looked at them, but this is like a huge amount of paper that I feel like I don't have.
This, I can tell you when I sent it. I sent it, inbox, the 17th.
Okay. I don't have like in my email. I just feel like I don't know. All right, sorry.
I can send it again.
No, that doesn't really help us now.
Do you want to look at them? I can look online.
Yeah, do you mind?
No. All right, 1819. You're fine. This is 1920 stuff.
All right. Because I feel like I read all these comments.
All right. So 1920. What do I have to look at? I don't know. Yeah, I just had a lot of things. I said, I'm just sending it all in one email. So there was a lot.
Is this a final or
Nope,
draft?
that's something else.
Oh,
That's not what I'm doing. Nope, I'm going over the budget for fiscal year 1920. It's, nope, it's that.
It's 2 pages.
Okay, so in general comments, we agreed to pay $23,141 from the town budget. As it's written in the budget, 6,000 goes to passes, 5,000 goes to the 3M cloud, 4,916 goes to servers, computer installation, and 7,225 goes to server computer equipment. I included income and expenses this year, looked at trends again over the last 5 years, and I used a conservative approach for the income. Fines income is about 10% less than the actuals from 1819. Just to give you an idea, it's just about 10% less. I also, that highlighted part says we need to move about $12,000 from the fine savings account into the checking account for the computers and servers. Under fines expenses, the 5,000 of the 6,000 is for, under materials, is for the 3M cloud. The 12,141 under building maintenance repairs is for the servers and the installation stuff. The 4,800 are for the museum passes that we agreed and in the town budget. And then currently, and this is my question actually to Yvette, is currently the budget does not account for the Centerpoint large print subscription that's under fines. So the fines number right now, which I don't have in front of me, is 6,000. So 5 of that 6,000 is for the 3M. That the GMilk's 3M. So typically what's been coming out of fines is the 2,225. Oh yeah, it's right there. 2,250 for materials, which is the Centerpoint large print subscription. Do you know if that went, I couldn't remember if that went into the town budget because it's been in fines for a couple of years.
I don't know. I'd have to ask. I don't know.
Okay.
And I think the other thing is the 3M, it's called Cloud now, so
Okay.
it's not 3M anymore, but it's digital material that is part of a GMilk's purchase, okay? And that's a suggested amount. Each library can choose to pay what they can,
Okay.
you know, so
Okay.
it's separate from our dues.
Right. Yeah, I had that conversation with Joanne.
Okay.
Okay. So I guess my question to the board and to you is 5,000 between the Centerpoint large print and the cloud digital, is 5,000 enough?
Well, it's 6,000, right?
Right, excuse me, yeah, it's 6,000. So,
And just to ask, is Hoopla already taken care of then through
That's a
the?
separate thing.
So, but we paid for part of it, didn't we, last?
Last year to
But
get
now
us,
it's all set, so we don't have
it's
to.
now 4 checkouts,
Okay, but that will
so-
going forward into the next fiscal year, that won't come out of the trustees, that will. be-
unless we run out.
Okay,
Unless usage, you know, because we decrease the number that people can check
Mhm.
out a month, but if more people start checking it out, then that's
then
gonna,
that could be something else that we would have to include
Right.
in materials.
right, and, you know, each library that has Hoopla is struggling with, sure, we wanna advertise and promote this, it's a wonderful service. It's a wonderful service, and at the same time, it's like, how expensive is this gonna get?
Right.
You know, and we don't know, we don't know. So there's a little bit of play going on with, wow, what's the magic number? And I don't know that we know. My, the business book group that meets, the book that we're reading for August, they keep saying, well, let's choose something from Hoopla. It's like, oh, that's 10 more people. Checking out. And I don't say that, but I think it, and I worry that, when is the money gonna run out? When? And how, and it's after we've planned a budget for next year, and that's really, I don't know, it's tough. But it's a great service, people love it, they're improving their offerings, the audio, I'm listening to the audiobook version for the business book group book for August on Hoopla. I've tapped into the checkouts. So yeah.
Okay.
But it's a separate line.
So we're back to, is $6,000 enough for,
For the center point large print, because I don't know if it's part of the budget, and cloud.
I wonder if it would help if I went back, I mean, the board is gonna see statistics probably September, because the year just finished, we're still kind of collecting, and then I'd like to discuss it with them in August. And then you can see it at the, maybe at the August meeting if we can have a discussion on the 6th, or if September you'll see it. But I'm wondering if, that would be helpful to see some of the statistics for both of these collections. I think large print would be growing, just because eyes are changing, people get older. And then, but with the cloud, it's each library pays in what they're able, and you can define able in any way, and Merrimack, we tend to pay a lot,
I would be curious to see what the cloud statistics
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
I have difficulties with it, so I'm wondering how
Okay.
it's used compared to some of the other services.
And,
so.
and I think I can get you information about, what the other libraries have paid in,
Okay.
what we've paid in.
Okay.
To kind of see, well, if we're paying it a lot, then someone else has to step up, because
Okay.
this is a group purchase in general.
Well, and also depending on how many, if our patrons are using it.
Yeah.
If we're using it, well, that makes sense, but
Sure,
if it's not
sure.
being used,
Right, okay. Yeah.
compared to something like Overdrive or Hoopla, I think it would be, I know Overdrive is through the state, but just for comparison's sake.
Right, okay. Let me get that information, and that will help.
Okay.
Okay.
So maybe just going forward, we'll leave a question mark with materials. But
So then, just to clarify, so
Sure.
Hoopla is from special, not from
no,
fines materials?
Hoopla
What we paid for it
is
from
fines.
special slash.
No, it's fines.
Okay, because I was told it was a different line item, but I thought here on the last year's budget, under materials, we went over because we paid for part of Hoopla and special expenses.
Last year.
Yeah, last year's budget, we went over.
It's under fines expenses. Added $1,900 to Hoopla.
Yeah.
Under fines.
Okay, so then it is that same line
Yep,
item
it
that I
is
was
that-
talking about?
yes.
Okay, so it would come out of that same $6,000 line item
If
if we paid
we
it?
paid
Okay,
more.
I just wanted to clarify.
Yes.
So, okay.
Yes. Yes. Just leave it at that. Any other comments for fines? Okay. Special. I did a conservative estimate specifically with passports, mainly because I didn't know how things would go over, like, holidays.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to the Kaiser House.
Good night.
Good night. And then I just wanted to highlight that the DCU, Friends of the Library grants, that's how much is restricted out of the total.
Wait a minute, where are you now?
I'm on special. Next page.
That'll do it.
Okay. You're welcome. The comments that are to the right of the dollar amounts are just to show you what pots of money it comes out of, or what it typically comes out of. I do want to highlight that there's a special for this equipment, and I have the granite sign, because in December, we voted to do it, and I thought we'd pay for it next year. And I couldn't remember the exact amount, but I thought it was somewhere around 1,500.
Don't worry, sure.
So can I ask,
I
do you want
think
to go ahead and do that?
Yes,
Since
please.
it's voted on? Okay.
Yeah. The granite sign
Did we approve that?
in
Yeah.
December.
We did.
But then we kind of put a hold on it simply because we didn't know if there were going to be construction issues, so it was a question of location. And now it's reached, I don't know whether that's changed, whether there was going to be, whether placement was going to become an issue.
I think that was because of the space study, but the joint board,
Right.
we're years away.
Yeah.
Okay, then,
And it can be moved.
Absolutely.
If there's an
Yes.
issue, we'll move it.
Okay. I will contact the vendor.
Okay, thank you. Then, just to highlight supplies, book sale expenses, and Friends of the Library expenses, it's money in, money out. But it does get included as income, but so then it has to get included as an expense. I upped programs and summer reading to reflect more of like what we spend, same with understaff. I kept seasonal decor the same because it was pretty good. I wanted to highlight a couple things. So, finance charges. I would like to see finance charges paid out of the account that the bill is included. So instead of cutting a check for like $1 here, $1 there, if it's, so right now, to give you guys what's going on, if there's a bill, let's say it's town, there's a town bill, but so it's materials that the town is paying for, but there's a finance charge. So the whole thing will get paid for out of the town, except there'll be a $1 finance charge that Yvette cuts a check, I sign for $1. I see that as part of doing business. I see that as the other departments in the town don't have, if they have a late fee, they just pay for it. I would like to see that, but I think that's something we can discuss. So instead of, same with like if we paid something out of fines, the bill would get paid for out of fines, and then there's a finance charge that gets paid out of special.
You want to pay out of fines instead of special?
I just want the whole entire bill to be paid for out of whatever pot of money the charge came from. That's what I'd like to see.
Okay.
Well, that would mean that finance charges go down to 0, and then Yvette and Joanne will just look at whatever the bill is and just pay it.
That makes sense.
Okay, so can I just restate this so I understand what you're saying.
Absolutely.
If we're paying something out of the municipal budget, and there's some kind of finance charge, late fee, whatever it is on it, it's gonna stay in this pot.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, no problem.
You put something down that there hadn't been any finance charges for like 3 months?
Correct.
That was in the
That's true.
18-19?
Yes.
Okay,
That's one of my goals
Yes.
on my,
yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and I saw that and said,
I don't
okay,
cut these
they're
checks,
doing it.
but,
Oh,
you know,
there it
it's
is.
a goal.
Yes.
Under special expenses, finance charge have just decreased throughout the year, none in the last 3 months.
Yes. That's why I highlighted it. Is that something we need to vote on? Or is it just a,
I don't know. It's always been the practice since I've been the director, so I don't know when it started, but it's procedural.
okay.
You just tell me to do it, and we
Okay.
do it. Unless you want to vote, and then it goes in the minutes, and then you can hold me to it. What do you want to do?
I say just pay the bill. Pay the bill.
Pay the bill.
Please just pay the bill.
Okay.
Pay the bill, and
Pay the
it
bill.
just makes, like, seriously, the extra time to cut a check and get you to sign it, no, just pay the bill. Just pay it.
That's fair.
Okay, and that's it. That's it for special. Okay, yeah. I don't have my, does anybody have any questions about it?
No, looks good.
Janice,
I
any
realized I
questions?
just wrote all over your.
That's okay. It's, you can keep it.
All right.
Do you have any questions about it?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right, then, the last piece of paper that that was given to all of you tonight that has sample written across it. And that's why I wrote sample. The actual is from July 1 to July 23rd, because I did it today, of what is currently has come in or been expensed out of our budget. Under budget is the numbers that you saw tonight. Remaining is just what's remaining, and then it's just a percentage. So if you want to see either number. I will start giving these to you every month, so you can see how we are doing. So if it looks like under fines expenses, let's say for materials, in November, we're at 6,100, then we should watch what we're doing for the rest of the year with fines. It's really just a guide, but I think this will help all of you. I mean, I look at these numbers every month, but I think going forward, this might mean something to you to see, oh, this is how we're doing in donations. No, donations are up. And passports, wow, we've really gotten a lot. As well as, oh, we've spent a lot on the building, or we've spent a lot on, I don't know, something else. So,
It really consolidates where the money's going,
Right.
much more detailed.
exactly.
Yeah, it's-
Which
it's
will help, I
it's
think,
almost
clarify the
like
budget
yearly
situation.
business.
Exactly. It's like a general ledger.
Yeah.
It's like a general ledger,
Um,
that's what it is.
Yes. So, and then the other documents I typically give you show what everything is, but this is just all consolidated. It's there for you. You can see it.
Nice.
So, I think that's it.
Well done, thank you.
Thanks.
Yes, very good. Well done.
This was, I think I'm done. The budget, with the changes or the information that we're gonna get from you in September-ish, I'd like to vote on this, to say yay or nay to these numbers, barring the materials under fines, that information.
All right. So you want to
Vote on
make a motion?
I would like
the
to.
the proposed budget, is what you're saying?
Yes, please, proposed budget.
Okay. Janet Crow moved that.
I would like to propose, or I don't even know, I'd like to make a motion to accept the values in the fiscal year 1920 trustee fund budget
Right.
with the
You're
exception.
speaking of this one.
No, I'm talking about, I don't have it. It's
The one with the.
That one.
that, the one with the red.
That the values of the 1920 proposed budget
Must be this one.
that we accept.
Yes, with, I don't even know how to write it. Possible changes to fines materials line.
With
Oh.
possible future changes to the which?
Fines materials line.
And when would we would know in September whether those changes have?
That one
have-
line, yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
For what? Materials?
Fines materials.
to be September.
All right, agenda.
This looks very nice.
Thanks. Job description. Oh, I
Very
need to
easy
make
to
a comment
follow.
about that.
I'll second.
Thanks. All those in favor? Passed, okay.
Okay.
Oh, I didn't do that. Okay, moving on. We are under acceptance of minutes.
I believe the only minutes for this month that we need, I've sent out the, I sent out the accepted ones from last time. So it's just the, June, I'm not sure where they are at this point. Oh, there it is, June 18th minutes. And they require the correction of the dates for the,
Yep. Okay.
with that correction, the dates for the,
The
in
trustee
the
budget.
action items, number 8. I will correct the 18, 19, and 19, 20 instead of being a year ahead of myself.
And, well done, that same line, or the same page. Number 10,
Yep,
acting director Ryder.
compensate an acting director with an acting director writer,
It's the Ryder. It's the acting director Ryder.
but you don't compensate the writer. The director and treasurer will meet to discuss a plan.
Oh, I see, okay.
I'm wondering under action items, in the future, if they're met, that we could just make a note that the goal, that it was met, so that it's very clear on the minutes that an action item or goal was met, so we don't have to keep going over it.
Yeah, I was gonna drop them off, but if you wanna do that.
Yeah, if
Can
it's
I-
an action item that's been taken care of, it's no longer an action item.
Right.
Can
for-
I make a suggestion, maybe? In GMilks, we have the same thing where it's action items, you know, that are reflected in the minutes. But the secretary has compiled all of the action items over the course of a year so that the board could review what they've done. I don't know
Yeah.
if you want to do that. This was the first year
Yeah, I like
she
that.
did that, but then they didn't drop off into space. They dropped off into a different document that said, this is a record of what we accomplished.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea,
do
because
too.
that way we can reflect and look back and know what we accomplished. And the future boards would be able to look at that as well.
Yeah,
So
because
you know what's
it's like one
happened.
sheet, maybe.
Yeah, just a way to keep track of it,
Yeah, I
so we
agree.
don't lose it. Thank you.
To develop an acting director, writer. Okay, so let's look at these, because this is only the second or at the most third month that we've had action items, something like that.
Okay.
So I'll go back and do that.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
But let's just go over these that we have here, the 1 through 10, or
Okay.
whatever it is.
Yep. 1 through 10.
And just say, have they been met? Okay, so the number 1 has not yet been met.
I'm just why do you say that?
Because I have
You have a draft.
a draft, but we have to address it next month. That's when we're going to look at them and decide whether
Okay.
we're going to.
Maybe next month what we could do is each committee brings their new statement all at the same time, and we can briefly review them all at the same time and vote on them. How's that?
But you haven't even seen this one.
That's what I mean.
You're
I
saying it for
know.
next month. Well, but these committee descriptions are part of section 1 and section 2 of what is it, number, whatever it is,
On the manual.
on the
yeah.
manual. So we're going to be reviewing them for next month anyway.
Yeah, so we
Okay.
can do them all
So,
together
yeah.
at the same time, and
All right, so number 1, are you saying that's been met?
no, not until next month.
That's what I was trying to say.
So if I understand the summary that you and I did,
Right,
we did it, it's a draft, you're all getting a copy of it.
right.
My impression is the next time we come to a meeting, we're saying it's okay, or we're making changes and we're
going to
done with it.
review
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna get mine and review it in that same meeting.
No, you're gonna get it
We did
now.
it so we could get it ahead of time. People
Right.
didn't feel like they had to read it in a meeting.
Right,
That
Right.
they would have it ahead of time.
right.
Okay.
Okay, so,
We went through these in the beginning, so maybe we can just tell you the ones that are met, rather than go through each one, right? So director job description was for
which
July.
one?
Wait,
What number?
Number 6, was that met? I thought that was one
Well,
that,
What
Hold
about
on.
2, 3, 4,
Um,
5?
Because
Two's done.
I'm just looking at them, as I look through,
Is number
it
1
seems
done?
like,
Just leave it as August.
but I was gonna say, I don't think that any of them are like officially done, except for
Right.
the job description, finance section. You did that a while ago, right?
Wait.
No.
And so 6 and 7 were done a while ago.
Hold on. I know what you're saying. So 1 is August.
Right,
2's done.
Well, 2 is an ongoing.
Right, which it's not even a goal, it's just,
Action item, right.
it's what we do.
3,
3 is August. 4 is August. 5,
It's sort of ongoing, I can get
Yeah.
more information, so.
what's
You
ongoing?
could change the
5?
timeline. You
5?
could change the timeline for number 5 since it's ongoing.
5 is,
I'm just gonna get more
Elections.
information about the way other boards are run and that
All
sort of
right,
thing.
so I'm just gonna put ongoing.
6
is done.
Is revise the job description, the finance section, that's done.
Yep.
Which, actually, I'm glad we brought that up. So last meeting, Laura asked if she could see the final.
Yes, 'cause I did have some comments on the revision of the job
And,
description, actually.
and Yvette had sent out the job description with
Yeah.
those changes.
And I had a couple comments on it. I thought we were gonna go over it, but
There's only one section she changed.
other things needed changing. Okay,
What did,
it's all right, not right now.
okay. 7 is complete. 8 is now complete. 9
I have complete.
is, yeah, that's just done. That's just more like an FYI. And then 10 is complete.
Good.
All right. Okay.
All right, so these minutes, does anybody have any changes?
No, actually, these were well done, Karen.
Would someone like to make a motion?
I move we accept the minutes from June. The June board meeting.
I
With-
second that.
With the changes of the dates.
Yeah, with changes.
All those in favor? Done.
It's a lot of detail that you got in there.
Yeah, it was a good minutes.
Let's see.
Non-public minutes?
Yeah, they're there somewhere. Wait 1 sec.
Okay.
We're talking about the June 18th non-public.
Yes, which was the single page.
Yeah, I move we accept the minutes from the non-public session of June 18th.
I second.
Oh, is this for the non-public?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You got a vote?
She's still writing.
Oh.
All those in favor? All right, where's my agenda? The longer the night goes, the less my computer has open. Great.
The what, your computer?
I close them as I use them. I'm
Well,
like,
that's the idea.
exactly. Great.
You get that instant gratification of knowing that the pile is lower.
Exactly. All right, anything else from the minutes?
That's all I have for minutes for this month.
Okay. What's next? Minutes, committee updates. Friends of the Library? Did they have a
I
meeting?
attended since Janice wasn't there. They had a successful book sale. I'm trying to find the figure of how much they made, and I'm not coming to me quickly here. How much did they make on the book sale? About 2,500, something like
I
that?
think it was more than that, but
Yeah, I'm not finding that. I've got it in front of me and I can't find it.
I didn't bring my friends.
I don't have
Um,
mine.
The next book sale will be September 20, 21, and 22. The 20th is a Friday, which is the pre-sale for those who belong to the Friends. They voted to use the square
Oh.
to accept credit cards at the
Huh?
book sales, which was nice. I'm sorry, they're using, yes, to use the square. They also will be starting the turkey shoot meetings in the end of September, end of September, August. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like the meeting is scheduled for Wednesday, the 4th, tentatively. And that's really about
September or August?
September 4, is what I wrote down.
For
They're
turkey
on
shoot?
Hiatus for
turkey
August.
shoot.
Aren't they on hiatus 1 month?
They're going to be meeting, they're going to start meeting for the turkey shoot fundraiser next fall in September.
Okay.
I wrote here that they're gonna use the square for the author series and consider using it for the book sale.
Yeah, when we,
Did I get that right?
I think so, because there was a discussion about it can't be used at the turkey shoot because of the gambling aspect
Oh,
of
not at the
turkey
turkey shoot,
shoot.
at the book sale.
But for book sales,
Yeah.
tested out when we had Jarrett Krasaska, then
For
his,
selling for the books.
yes, his books were all something 99 cents. And Danielle and I had decided, oh, let's just use the same amount of startup cash as we might for a book sale, which doesn't include any pennies. So it was awkward. People were nice. But a lot of folks, when they come to an author visit, they would like to use a debit card or a credit card. At a book sale, people tend to bring cash or checks and have a set amount of money that they want to spend. I mean, you guys have
Right.
worked the book sale table, so, but just to test it out, to see how it would work. I think we also agreed the app would be installed on one of the library tablets. I have a library tablet, just so it wouldn't interfere with someone's personal phone, So I think, but I remember that discussion, and that's probably just a little
Yeah,
bit to
that's
fill
about-
in.
Oh, right. Okay. Thank you for filling in on that.
You're welcome.
That's
Thank
really,
you for attending in my
I'm sorry?
absence. Thank you for attending in my absence.
so that's what it is there.
The Library Development Fund,
The what?
the Development Fund,
Haven't met.
okay. Town Center,
Yes. We had a meeting in late June. And it's a quiet time right now. Things are still being going through the state as far as the town center and God bless you, sidewalks and but the metal plates that are opposite the Watkins Park, opposite the fire station, Watson Park, opposite the fire station, those will lead to the trail next to the fire station going back, and those plates it'll be done, the trails will be done in that section within the year. So that's coming along. And they were talking about possibly having a manned table at the turkey shoot to talk about what the town center committee does and so on. They would take responsibility, they would have the brochures and the map and so on. So that's a possibility, and they're also going to be at one or two of the Wednesday farmers markets. So, and they'll have information there for the public. So that was pretty much, there's some videos that are being developed about the trails and about other town center projects. So those will be available on probably the town website under Town Center Committee. And those are being worked out right now. Bill Cummings is taking the lead on that. And also, the high school students are going to work with the video teacher and do the videoing. So it's pretty good. It's moving right along.
nice.
Just takes forever.
Personnel Committee,
We brought
you
our
you have your draft.
write-up and
Yeah,
we can take a look at it and
it's just very simple.
Okay.
And
Thank you.
it's right off of the other, it's a simplification of.
Thank you.
thanks.
And we made it a draft so that we could
Sure.
take suggestions and craft it
Thanks.
And we used the document that's in the trustee manual.
in the trustee manual.
Oh,
as,
okay.
as the base, and then this was our proposal.
And there were a lot of, there were financial, there's a whole financial section to this that we would, we want to just discuss.
Okay. All set? Okay. Building maintenance?
You met.
We met, exactly. We have to meet again. Finance Committee?
I think we've already done what
Yeah,
we're gonna
we
do.
met and, yeah.
Can I jump back for?
Absolutely.
To the personnel
Yeah.
committee draft. The page in the trustee manual is really extensive. It's got like 14 different categories or things that will describe what we do, and we significantly shortened that. So we're just pull them both aside so you can say, oh, well, why did you take out? Or we really need this, or we see why you consolidated that. So that's just please go back and look at that document as well.
Thanks, James. Actually, before we go to action items, I have two things that I forgot to do. So, the last couple years, starting the new fiscal year, we've put $10,000 as a baseline for fines and special. Because of the two budgets that I proposed tonight, to start with 10,000 plus the additional 12 in fines, or 4 fines, and then the 10 for DCU special, plus the obligation, I would like to move money from the fine savings account. I would like to move $8,941.90.
Okay, now I need to,
Well, let me just finish,
okay,
and I'll give you the number.
okay. Well,
Um,
you're gonna have to give me the motion.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I would like to move $8,941.90,
8,941.
8941.90, 90.90,
Yeah,
from the fines savings account to the fines checking account
Oh, for the new fiscal year.
for the new fiscal year, to cover expenses.
okay.
Okay? Do you want me to do the special with that, or
Want separate motions, or you want them
separate
all in
motions?
one?
Yeah. Let's do them together.
All right.
The next motion is, I'd like to move.
But nobody seconded that one.
I'll
Okay,
second the
she'll second it.
first.
Okay, then let's just vote. All those in favor to move the $8,941.90?
Mhm.
Thank you. That's for fines, and then for special,
Okay, how much?
1,612. And 76 cents.
From
From special savings.
To
Special checking.
special checking to cover expenses.
Yeah, it's to start us again at 10,000 and the obligated money of the DCU and trustees of the trust fund.
Give me that last one again. To start at 10,000 and to,
And the 3,300 of obligated money.
got it.
Second? Or seconds?
Okay.
All those in favor? Thank you. Okay, now, we have July's action items.
I made some notes on some action
Okay.
items. So one of them would be for all the trustees to review sections 1 and 2 of the trustee manual in preparation for a brief discussion.
So the first thing is Would you repeat that one more time?
Sure. For all of the trustees to review sections 1 and 2
Yep.
of the manual for a brief discussion at the August meeting. And then in conjunction with that, for me, I will be getting an electronic copy of sections 1 and 2, and I will have that. So that's something
That's
I'll,
part of the same one.
but I'm getting
Yeah.
the electronic
Yeah.
copy, so that's an
Yeah.
action item I'll be doing.
Yep.
And then Janet, you're going to send out the building committee draft.
Yep.
Um, That's two.
Okay, you got
And then,
the,
of course, the other ones
there's,
that
I have
are
the.
ongoing.
Three.
Keep
I have
going.
it. I have the, send out the draft of the,
Building committee.
okay. And then, like you said, it's on June's, but it's the review, the COLA raises for staff. It's on the minutes, it's
Yeah.
still going. And then I have moved the money that we just voted to move from savings to checking. And I have, Yvette will contact Granite sign guy.
Oh, okay, yes.
Does anybody have anything else? Those were the ones I had.
Well, I have mine.
Yeah,
Oh,
so say you
yeah.
said.
Well,
you
yeah,
were
you
going
just
to
kept
your
writing notes all over the
department
place.
heading And collecting in this, yeah.
So I have some questions from you, from some of you, from the building and maintenance list from this month that I'll go to the department, well, I'll go to Joanne and find out about. And then I have for the department heads, the fiscal year 1920 trustee budget, the materials line, to get some clarification for that. Also usage,
Oh, yeah, the clouds.
statistics, and then also talk to them about staff evaluations.
Yeah.
Moving, trying to kind of condense the timeline for that. And then paying the finance charges out of the same budget line and not separating it out.
Do you want me to put Yvette's action items in the minutes?
Yes.
You told me to do something, I think, so, yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need,
More paper?
no, luckily I don't have any paper, but,
I-
Granite.
I'm sorry.
Fine.
You wanna, we can fill this in later.
thank you,
Let's move on.
okay.
Okay, where am I? Okay, we'll do calendar. Do the calendar first. Yeah, I know.
Sorry.
That's all right. So, on June 24th at 7, we're gonna have, in the director's office, is the Friends of the Library meeting.
When?
No, these are old because we moved.
Oh, that's right.
That's
I
right,
did
we
this-
moved everything.
I must have just done this wrong. I'm sorry. I don't know, probably.
Well, notice how none
I
of us
did-
really realize it till right now, because I'm like, we choose.
No,
wait,
because
no.
I changed it on the draft and I didn't change it on the
Oh.
final. So these are all supposed to be Augusts.
All right.
So,
So it's August
Wait,
24th.
but next Tuesday is the Secret Life books of,
Sure, but when this was created, that hadn't been changed.
oh. Well, I know that next Tuesday,
Because I do
there's
too.
a Secret Life of Library books, and it is,
Circulation ILL.
thank you, Circulation ILL.
All right, so
and what's that date?
The
July
30th.
30th.
What's the
June.
30th?
The Secret
Oh.
Life of Library books at 7 at the library, circulation, interlibrary loans.
July 30th.
I think we need a T-shirt.
T-shirt?
What was that?
Yeah, Secret Life of Library Books. We need a T-shirt or a sticker. You check off your little sticker that you know all the secret.
Right.
life.
July 30th. Oh, now, are
I'm
we
sorry.
doing Friends of the Library? Is there a,
No.
so, cross,
Now they're on hiatus anyway, right?
okay. And
And then,
is there a third one?
no,
Well-
because
well,
there
we-
isn't, we haven't set up a library board of trustees. Oh, no, that's our meeting. When's our meeting? August?
No, that's Friends of the Library is A. And then our meeting, Library Board of Trustees, right, that one, C.
Is August
Yes, but
20.
August 20th?
At 7 PM in the Merrimack Memorial Room in the Town Hall Complex. It's the LBOT meeting.
Yeah, so we'll go back to our regular third Tuesday,
Correct.
which is the 20th.
Yep. Do you want to go into non-public, or do you want to do the new chair?
What do you want to do? You're the chair, right?
I know,
I
but-
can't tell you.
Um,
Do you want to experience a non-public?
oh, great, sure, let's just do non-public.
Well, then you're going to have to come out
Right.
and finish the meeting and all that, okay.
All right, well, I guess I should tell you guys, whoever is going to be chair, do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it after non-public?
I would suggest you do it after non-public, because you don't want to switch in before
Okay.
the end of the meeting.
All right, so we're going to go into non-public per RSA 91-A:3A, employee compensation.
So we should do a roll call, correct?
A roll call, yep. Janice? Just
Yes.
say yes. Deb?
Present?
Yep,
Present.
present.
Okay. Nobody, come on.
Was anybody interested?
I'll do it. Unless you really want to do it.
Here's my question for you. Here's my question for you. With all due respect, are you looking at the position through the eyes of a librarian or the eyes of a trustee?
Probably both.
Okay, fair enough.
Because that is what I do, right? So I have that perspective that I bring, but I'm also an avid library user. But if Janice would like to do it, or somebody else would like to step forward, I'm not saying that I have to do it. So, but we're all just sitting here. So, if that makes you uncomfortable, you're welcome to, that's fine.
He should be on,
Or,
yes.
or Janice, whatever's best for the board, that's fine with me.
I will say that if, my difficulty is that as Janet spends a lot of time with the treasurer's materials, I spend a lot of time with the secretary's responsibilities. And if I took it, then somebody would have to step up to be secretary, and it takes some serious time. So, I mean, I imagine people could adapt the minutes so that they could be done more quickly, I imagine. But I would do it if no one else felt that it was best. But I'll keep my secretary's position through April, you know, through the next session, if I don't. I think you would.
Listen,
Fine.
I just want to do whatever is great for the board.
Right.
So it's
And
fine. If
I
you
agree
would
with
like
that,
to
too.
do it, and with your experience, then go for it. Like, it's all good. So,
Okay. We have a motion on the table for Deb to be chair. All those in favor for Deb to be chair?
so that's fine.
Anybody? Yeah, I'm voting.
We're
Wait a
voting?
minute, we didn't, well,
I-
second?
well, okay,
What are we
second.
voting?
I
What?
said we have a motion on the table for Deb to be chair. I will second it.
Who made the motion?
Actually,
did.
she
No, I
did.
just said that.
She said she would be
I thought we were
chair.
having a discussion. So this is feeling very awkward for me. Like, I'm just trying to do what's best for the board. No one is stepping forward. Janice, if you would like to do it, there's, whatever. I mean, obviously Laura has some concerns. It's all fine, you know?
I don't feel like, as much as I appreciate people's confidence, I feel very uncomfortable about being the chair. And you don't want a chair who feels uncomfortable about being the chair.
Okay.
You also have a person who has potentially said that she can take on the role of being secretary myself.
Mhm.
And so if that's what has to happen a little quicker, you know, that's okay too.
So Karen, would you like to be chair?
Honestly, I have never been the chair of anything, and I think that I am not extremely comfortable in that situation, or I don't see a way forward. It's going to be a big jump in learning, but I will do it if there isn't a good option. I think that you would be a good option, but
And when you step forward to say, I could do it, okay, as far as I can see right now, the big key thing that I think you would bring to it is you know how to move things along, and you're very good at like encapsulating pieces of information.
it's true.
Yeah, no. and
Better
I
than
think
me,
that
that's for sure.
that is something the board has been trying to work on, trying to do that. And so when I say I'm not comfortable doing it, I don't think that's a strength of mine, and I think the board needs that. And I will say, Laura, that you know, throwing that on you, or even you coming forward of doing it now, is because you have, I'm guessing because you have the background in the library piece of it and managing that kind of situation, that coming in and running a meeting is not so out of your realm of skills. And then you all have said to me that, you know, the stuff that you don't know, we're gonna be helping you along
Yeah.
with that.
Yep.
And that it's a process.
Okay, so where are we? I mean,
Deb
I'm,
has volunteered.
okay. All those in favor of having
We
Deb,
didn't have any motions.
she, okay,
Well, she volunteered
she volunteered, and I second the volunteer.
She's nominating herself.
herself.
Yes.
Right.
And I second that.
Okay.
Got it. Ask for a vote.
I'm waiting for her to catch up.
I'm sorry.
Exactly, we've discussed.
Yep, we did, but let's see. Volunteer.
Exactly. You're good.
Deb. Janet, second. I'll clean this up. Okay.
All right, all those in favor of Deb being chair?
It's unanimous.
Excellent.
It
Thank you.
does.
Let's
It
go
makes
say
sense.
congratulations.
So,
We don't have a gavel anymore.
There we go.
I want to
It's a
thank
new
you.
badge though, right? that
It
says chair.
really is helpful. because as long as this takes, I am comfortable with it. I wouldn't be close to comfortable. And I really thank you, because I think you will do a good job.
Well, thanks. Do we have a motion to adjourn now? Is that-
No, we're
Oh.
already we're in public.
Yep.
And you just got voted chair, and now you get to close the meeting.
So do we need a motion to adjourn? I make a motion, Karen makes a motion to adjourn, meeting at 10:08. So,
Woohoo.
second?
We have to second it and vote.
I second it.
All right.
All in favor?
I was gonna say, I'll second.
I'll move that one along, so.
Can you just put in your minutes somewhere, my action items, just put director's action items?
Yeah,
And then.
yeah.
You'll know to.
Oh,
ping me,
no.
Say, hey, Yvette, what were those things?
Yeah.